Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Drew Deeks channel. The Montreal Canadiens lose last night to the Boston Bruins 5-3 in a game that ultimately really did not matter, unless, of course, you're tracking the Canadiens trying to get the 32 spot in the standings so they can have first crack or highest chance in the NHL draft lottery on May 10th. But last night was simply not about that. It was about one thing: this man right here, Mr. Guy Lafleur. What a night it was at the Bell Center, folks. Here's the Bruins and Habs, number 10 highlighted at center ice. And just look at the center ice shot here. This is one of my favorite images from last night. Just a night where you remember why you're a Montreal Canadiens fan and why you're so proud to be a Montreal Canadiens fan, regardless of whether you got to see Guy Lafleur play or not, whether you knew somebody, whether it was your dad or your grandfather, aunt, uncle, cousin, friend, whoever it was. This is where you got to see why the Canadiens are propped up in the NHL the way that they are, because nobody, simply nobody, does ceremonies of any kind really to honor their players the way the Montreal Canadiens do. And that's something that it's not a bragging thing, but it just in my, I tweeted out last night. I don't tweet a whole lot, to be honest with you. I'm not the most, entertaining Twitter follow of all time, at least not right now. I try to focus more on the video content, but I simply said that this is why the Montreal Canadiens are, it's a reminder of why the Montreal Canadiens are the greatest hockey franchise in the world, because no one has ever done it. No one has ever done things the way they do, and no one ever will. I stand by that. That's easy to say as a biased fan of the franchise, but that's kind of why you choose the team that you cheer for. You choose them based on the history. What have you learned about them? Not just because they've won a bunch of championships, eons ago, but because of what they stand for, right? So this was just a special night at the Bell Center. The Guy chants. This is one of my favorite stats. Michel Lacroix, announcer at the Bell Center, was cut off a couple of times trying to get to the moment of silence, which cheers to the Habs fans for that. But according to TSN's John Liu, friend of Habs Tonight, the other Habs Tonight, the other show I work on, he said that the standing ovation lasted for 10 minutes and 10 seconds, according to the Montreal Canadiens. Now, don't matter whether or not it was fabricated just a little bit, but it was around the 10-minute mark. But it was quoted at 10:10 from John Liu on SportsCenter last night, so I went with this. I mentioned this on my last tribute video to Guy Lafleur, that he defined carrying the torch, and he surely did. It was a beautiful sight also to see in the Bell Center, even if one of these images will show it here on the boards. If you can see the board, this is kind of a distant shot, but number 10 on the boards here, and no advertisements throughout the entire game between the Bruins and Habs, which is extremely rare. It looked even old school. It looked like it reminded me of the Forum, just like no advertisements in the old 80s, 90s, 70s days of the Bell Center, or of the Forum. And it just looks old school. And they just had Guy Lafleur's number and autograph printed on the boards, as you guys would have seen. So it was just a beautiful thing. The tribute was absolutely outstanding. Definitely emotional for all of us fans. Definitely had a tear or two in the eye. And getting texts from people that aren't even Habs fans just saying like, wow, like what a moment that was. And it surely was. You guys witnessed it yourselves. And it just was such a special night where the season has been so hard to be a Montreal Canadiens fan it's been hard to enjoy, but seeing what they did for Mr. Guy Lafleur and the tribute was just outstanding. It really was. It really was. And we expected it would be, right? So not disappointed in the slightest. This is when the Montreal Canadiens franchise really shines the brightest in sometimes the darkest of moments, losing a beloved legend like Guy Lafleur. But my gosh, do they ever do their best to let that logo shine? I mean, that's why we're proud to be Montreal Canadiens fans. That's it right there. That's a big reason for it. I'm going to talk about this game very briefly here because it just didn't matter in comparison to what this evening mattered. But yes, there's going to be a state funeral held for Guy Lafleur on May the 3rd at the Bell Center, just like it was for John Beliveau. And also, I believe, for Rocket Richard as well. So fans will really get a chance to really not just say goodbye, but to pay tribute and give thanks in person to the legend that is Guy Lafleur. And that's a really special thing. And I didn't have a picture of this image, but you guys may have seen it on social media. If you haven't, look it up. But the Canadiens skated over at the end of the game last night and saluted the Guy Lafleur banner one more time. And that was beautiful. I think it might have been Brendan Gallagher that actually had the idea to do that. But the banner was shining brightly last night under the spotlight, and it was a beautiful sight. Just a beautiful sight. And the Habs saluting Guy Lafleur one more time. One more time. It's moments like those that you're proud to be a Montreal Canadiens fan, and even as a hockey fan, you can appreciate the atmosphere and why we love this team so much, and why people consider it a religion. Which I don't like that narrative personally, but that's okay. We all love this team very deeply. That's the point. So the game itself, Montreal losing 5-3 to the Boston Bruins. Josh Anderson, your goal scorer. Nick Suzuki, your other goal scorer, and then Mike Hoffman had a beautiful one-timer on the power play. Also gave up a penalty shot in this game, which was a weird penalty shot. You guys probably saw that yourselves. And it still counted, and he didn't touch the puck. So, I mean, that's the point. But regardless of that, just really quickly on Mike Hoffman, I'll just say that we're going to be, I don't want to say stuck with him, but we're likely going to have him next season, guys. And even just looking at the numbers from this season, from the entire Habs roster, Mike Hoffman, 13 goals, 19 assists, 32 points in 65 games. Everyone's got a big minus column, so I don't even want to pay attention to that. But I think we got to give another go around with Mike Hoffman next year and just kind of let it simmer. I'm going to make another video on what I think we need to do for next season. That's going to be coming this week. I haven't had a chance to get to a lot of content this weekend because of Guy Lafleur's passing, which just made sense to honor that and respect that. So yeah, the Habs lose this game on Guy Lafleur night, but Nick Suzuki getting his 21st goal of the season. Now, looking at Nick's stats, he's 1 point away from 60. So 21 goals, 38 assists for Nick Suzuki, 59 points in 80 games. So I'd really love to see in the remaining 2 games this week if Nick can get his 60th point. That would be a really nice number for him to hit. I think it would just be fun. Cole Caulfield was buzzing around this game. Did score his 20th goal the other night, which was nice to see Cole get that 20 mark. Now he's got 20 goals, 20 assists in 65 games. Does Cole Caulfield? What a point of pride for Cole to get that 20th goal. I didn't make a post game the other night, so just wanted to mention that for Mr. Caulfield. But yeah, otherwise, the other thing I really there was some chippiness in this game. I think the old school the old school Bruins Habs rivalry was on full display again. And Jeff Petrie laying a clean hit. Now, mind you, he lined him up, but it was a very clean hit on Patrice Bergeron, which Brad Marchand didn't like, and just tackled Petrie and probably whispered some sweet nothings in his ear, and nothing came of it. But there was a lot of hits thrown in this game. There wasn't really a fight. There was a fight the other night in the Ottawa game where the guy scores his first NHL. I can't remember his name, but he scored his first NHL goal, and the Pizzetta fought him like right after the goal. But tonight's game, or last night's game, it was a little chippy with the Bruins and Habs, and there was some emotion, which was good to see. I was more than fine with that. But I really liked Alex Romanov's game. I got to say that he has been progressing throughout this season. We have a lot to look forward to in Alex Romanov. We did get to see William Lagesson playing with Jordan Harris. They looked a bit lost. It looked like lost rookies on a couple of plays because they're like, should I pass you the puck? Do you want the puck? I just noticed a couple of little things like that. I'm still loving Jordan Harris's game, by the way. Wasn't that impressed with Lagesson last night specifically, but definitely impressed with Romanov laying some great hits in this game. But I'm going to leave it at that. This video is going a little longer just based on my post-game numbers. I try to keep it, under 10 minutes, what have you. But this was really about Guy Lafleur. Once again, just a beautiful, beautiful evening at the Bell Center, paying tribute to this guy right here, a Habs legend that will live on forever and ever in the minds and hearts of Montreal Canadiens fans and hockey fans. I mean, the tributes were pouring in from everywhere, from every team. Guy Lafleur, known for his humanitarian work, which I didn't really mention in my last tribute video to him. And that's really what made him shine the most, was his humanitarian work, which he learned, I think, from John Beliveau, but carried on the tradition, carried on the torch for the Montreal Canadiens. And Jonathan Drouin even sent out a beautiful Instagram post last night about how the charity work that Drouin does now is the reason he does it, and the way he does it is because of Guy Lafleur. So regardless of what you think of Drouin, putting your opinions aside, I mean, he's a French Canadian as well and knows what Guy Lafleur means. He knows what the pressure is like, and hopefully by some miracle, some way, Jonathan Drouin can put together a wonderful season next year and just end his career in Montreal on a high note. Or if he stays with us, I don't know. That's another discussion for the day. But again, this was Guy Lafleur night. This was a night where you just were so proud to be a Montreal Canadiens fan. and pay tribute to this absolute legend. What a beauty! Look at this shot of him. It's just what a gorgeous picture. My dad, I told me the stories of getting to see Guy play and just his speed. I mean, he mentioned the shot and the flow and the buzz of the Bell Center, but man, just the speed of his game. And my dad was highlighting and saying how much he enjoyed seeing him at the Forum, and that was great for me to hear as well. But and then there was one more thing on Guy Lafleur. The thing I noticed, and you guys probably noticed when PK Subban used to play with us, or even there was a point in time where any player that was able to carry the puck up from the back end out, you always hear that whistling in the Bell Center. Like you always hear that buzz when someone's carrying up the puck. And I realized that it all started with Guy Lafleur. So that whole buzz that gets created when a player carries up the puck with speed and confidence and just bursts all the way down the ice, all came from Guy Lafleur. So I remember Jonathan Drouin in the 3-on-3 against Edmonton in 2019 when he scored that goal, single-handed effort. Victor Mete gave him the puck behind the net, and Drouin just went for a skate, scored that goal. You guys know what I'm talking about. And that just reminded me of Guy Lafleur too. The hair was flowing in the wind even for Drouin there. But anyway, just some little things that I thought of there that just make me think, wow, how fortunate are we to have had all these legends on this team? It just blows my mind. It's a proud thing to be a Montreal Canadiens fan. I've blabbed on longer than usual here, but just want to thank you guys for the support on this channel. It means the world. We'll see you on the next one. Thanks so much for the feedback as always, guys. Talk to you soon.